What is up, Scentsy fans? It's Patricia, and welcome to Tester Tuesday, a spot where I get Scentsy reviews out to you based on how they do for me in my home and what my thoughts are. So this week we're going to do 4 licensed limited time offer scents plus 1 scent of the month. So let's get started. All right, so this week we're going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to try to keep the reviews shorter, and I'm going to go in order from generally not the greatest in terms of scent appeal for my family towards the one that they seem to like the most. So scent number 1 for the week is going to be Peanuts Snoopy's Autumn Adventure. This has an orange colored wax. I would say it's just shy of medium or between light and medium on cold sniff intensity. I believe Scentsy has put this in the bakery section. So let's read the scent description. Scentsy says, leap into a pile of freshly raked fun with Snoopy. Warm spice, brown sugar, and a swirl of vanilla capture the heart of the season. So they talk about it being warm. It is slightly warm, but there's a lot of vanilla in here that makes it a creamy, somewhat dull bakery. I feel like there's the tiniest bit of sweet fruit, maybe peach or nectarine or apricot in there with the other notes. So I have written down warm, check, creamy, check, buttery, check, neutral, check, minimal spice, and a natural style pumpkin. And then I have a note, must be lots of vanilla because there's a overall, I don't want to say blandness, but that's kind of what the vanilla is doing. It's taking some of those like brown sugar notes, spice notes, and it's kind of dulling them down. And it wasn't overly memorable for me. It was okay. For me, scent appeal is probably 5 out of 10, but let's see what my family thought. My husband said, this one smells like barf. That's what he said, 5 out of 10. And I said, oh my gosh. Anyway, if that's what gets 5 out of 10, I'm not sure what would get lower than that. But my daughter said 5.5 out of 10. And she said, this one's hard to figure out. And she did ask what the notes were. And Ryan went, it's okay. And he gave it 6 out of 10. So I decided to warm 4 cubes here in my bedroom bathroom combination and then 3 cubes in the boys' room because the reception on this one wasn't the greatest and Ryan is pretty easygoing. So here in my bedroom, strength and throw roughly 6.5 out of 10. And I left it going 1 day, but towards the latter part of that day, I didn't really notice it very much. The scent performed somewhat similarly in the boys' room between 6 and 7 there. And I only left it going a day. And a lot of times when I walked into the room, I didn't even really notice fragrance. I like scent to be able to kind of hit me and be like, oh, what a nice scent. But I almost would have to look for the scent. So it started off okay, but it just kind of fizzled out. Now, let's say for me personally, this is like a vanilla diluted, gentle version of Frightfully Delightful and less fruit in it, more vanilla and blandness. So that's what I get. This would be a good like leaving summer going into fall bakery, but it's probably gentle enough you could warm it any time of year, but you would probably do best in a smaller space for this. Will I repurchase this one? No, it's not a repurchase based on family preference and performance. So that is Snoopy's Autumn Adventure. All right, let's talk about our second scent for the week. It is Half S'more Pumpkin. This is the scent of the month for October, and Scentsy has put this in the spice, but I would argue it could easily go in bakery more so than spice. It's an orange wax. Cold sniff intensity is roughly medium, and let's see what the scent description says. Scentsy says, vanilla marshmallow, melt into rich caramel, dusted with a layer of pumpkin spice. So this reminds me of one of those desserts that you get more at a restaurant versus a home-style dessert. Home-style desserts are very sweet and gooey and comforting. This has a little bit of a sophisticated plainness to it, I guess. And the reason I say that is it kind of reminds me of, I do get a lot of graham. Some people don't. I feel like I get lots of graham. I get some pumpkin and I get a little bit of spice. I don't get a lot of creaminess from vanilla. I don't get a lot of marshmallow at all. And I almost get, you know, when in restaurants they can do like spun sugar decorations. So it's like they bring it to a certain stage, like a crack stage. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a garnish. But I feel like that's on this dessert because that caramel, it doesn't smell like gooey caramel. It smells like a little bit of that like bitter style caramel that Scentsy really likes. So I have a note, yeah, graham plus pumpkin, sprinkle of spice, layered with hardened sugar, not overly sweet. I think I would love it mixed with sugar cookie or vanilla bean buttercream. And the pumpkin in here reminded me of porch pumpkin. It's like porch pumpkin went towards a dessert. So what did my family think of this one? My husband said, ooh, that's a nice one at 7.5 out of 10. Erica coughed twice and said 3 out of 10. She didn't like this one. And Ryan said, it's okay at 7 out of 10. And for Scentsy for me, I would say about a 6 out of 10. So I put it in my bedroom and bathroom combination, 4 cubes total between the 2 spots. Strength and throw at max was about 7.5. And I left it about 24 hours and then I removed it. I couldn't really smell it the greatest after 24 hours. In the storage room, I used 1 cube in a 20-watt beehive. Strength was about 6 out of 10 at max. And we're starting day 2 and it's about 3 to 4 out of 10. So I could probably remove it at any time, but I'll probably just let it go another day. Now this isn't overly different to me of a lot of Scentsy's pumpkin, spice, bakery leaning scents. It doesn't stand out, but that's just me personally. I would say you should have a medium space and really good performing warmers for this one. So any 25 or above would be good. Fall and winter leaning, and it's good for a cold day or a rainy day type scent. Will I be repurchasing this one? No, but if I stumbled across it, I would be more than happy to warm it. It was fine for me. I actually enjoyed it early on. So that is Have Some More Pumpkin. All right, so let's talk about our third scent for the week. It is Shrek Fairy Tale Ogre. Bright green colored wax. On cold sniff, I would say it's just shy of medium leading up to medium. And I would put this in the fruity section. So let's read the scent description. Scentsy says, grassy greens reveal layers of appetizing apple and fresh floral notes. So for me, this is primarily a sweet vanilla apple scent. And the apple leads more towards a green apple for me, and maybe it's the color that's doing that, but that's what I feel. And the grassy greens are more of a meadow sweet grass, and I think there's maybe some other fruits such as maybe kiwi, maybe something a little bit sour like star fruit, and maybe even a little bit of melon. I feel like it's apple mostly with other things and a little bit of sweetness of meadowy grass. And the grass is not like fresh cut grass or anything like that. It's very sweet and heavily influenced by that vanilla. And the vanilla is almost like a candy vanilla influence on that, if that makes sense. So what did my family think of this one? Okay, so my husband said, ooh, I like that one, 7.5 out of 10. Then, immediately after, he said, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, whatever is going in the boys' room smells musty. It's terrible. I said, it's this. He goes, change it. I want you to put 4 out of 10. And I said, when you don't like something, you give it 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10? I don't understand his ratings, but anyway, he goes from about 4 or 5 up to 9. That's all he does. Erica, 7 out of 10. Ryan said, ooh, 8.5 out of 10. I would say for me, this was maybe 7.5. And so I decided to put in the boys' room and Erica's room. So the boys' room, I left it going 2 days. At most, it was between 6.5 and 7. Erica's room, I left it going 1.5 days. There was still a little bit of scent at about 3 out of 10 when I removed it, but it wasn't worth keeping it going. And that was also about 6.5 to 7. Now, for some reason, my husband smelled a mustiness, but I did not get that personally. So if you like scents like Apple Crush or A is for Apple, and you could kind of imagine that as a starting base, and then picture like a vanilla, fruity, slightly sweet grass going in with it. It says florals. I'm not sure I'm getting a lot of florals, but Apple Crush does have a floral note, so maybe that's, I agree, I guess. This is more spring-summer leaning, so if you're one of those spring-summer people and you want to know what to warm, this would be a good one to warm now. Will I be repurchasing this? No. Licensed bars have to blow me out of the water right now to repurchase, and this was just okay. I will finish up the 2 cubes somewhere where my husband doesn't have to smell them. So that is Shrek Fairy Tale Ogre. All right, let's talk about scent number 4 for the week. It is Disney Haunted Mansion Ring the Bell. Beautiful violet electric blue colored wax. On cold sniff, it's between medium and medium plus, and I would put this in the woods category with a sub of fruit. So the scent description says, dark pomegranate reaches out from regions beyond to materialize with warm cedarwood and a hint of oud. So for me, this is primarily a deep, dark, fruity scent with a heavy, rich, woodsy, leaning towards cologne scent. So I have notes, dark fruit, plum and pomegranate leaning. Deep notes of heavy wood, even might have a touch of patchouli in here. Now I think there's violet in here, but I could be wrong. Sometimes I like violet, sometimes I don't. And sometimes I noted almost like a medicinal sharpness with this. And I also want to say it's hard for me to describe the deep aspects of this, but it's somewhat of a heavy scent. So remember Ghostly Greetings? To me, that's a very heavy version of this. This is almost like a mid-level version of a fruity, woodsy, heavy scent. So that's where we're going with it. So what did my family think of this one? My husband said 6 out of 10, Erica said 7 out of 10, and Ryan said 8 out of 10. And for me, scent appeal is probably like a 3 or a 4. This is not a Patricia style scent, but I will say it's a scent that I respect because the performance was pretty good. So let's talk about that. In the boys' room, I decided to put 3 cubes there. I would say strength and throw was between 8 and 9 for this one. And I left it going, I took it out on day 4 because I just didn't want to smell it anymore, but it still had scent. So I took the wax and added it to the bathroom wax. But how did it do in the bathroom? I put 2 cubes there, and that's a difficult area for me to scent, the kids' bathroom. It started off at about an 8. Day 2, it was more like a 6. And then I think on day 3, I added the other wax to it. I left it going for maybe another day. But you could smell it getting closer to the warmer, but it didn't seem to throw the best in the room. And I think it's just a room issue. So I think that the performance on this is pretty good. So would I think that you should warm this anytime other than fall, winter? Personally, it's a leaning fall, winter for sure because of the heaviness, but obviously can warm it any time of year. I would also suggest bedrooms or like offices or dens. Could you warm this in an open area? It depends. If you had a traditional ceiling level, somewhat of a medium size open area, you could give it a try. Where it's a licensed bar, it's a little bit more expensive, so slightly on the risky side to do that. So maybe start it in a smaller space, see how it performs for you, and then, branch out from there. I will give this a compliment. It had the most beautiful color wax warming. I'll put a picture here of what it looked like. Will I repurchase this one? No, but I appreciate the longevity and the strength for this one. So it is Haunted Mansion Ring the Bell. All right, let's talk about our last scent for the week. And this is the one my family seemed to like the most on Cold Snip. It's Peanuts, a Snoopy Holiday, sorry. This is a green colored wax. I have a full clamshell here because I actually used a whole clamshell. And I would say on Cold Snip, it's shy of medium, so between light and medium. And I think Scentsy has put this in citrus, but I have notes here. It could be in fresh, citrus, or woods. And it is a licensed bar as well. So let's read the scent description. Scentsy says, festive pine wrapped with bright lemon and fresh eucalyptus, blend nostalgia and fun, just like Snoopy. So on Cold Snip, I felt like it was about 45% pine, 45% lemon, and then 10% eucalyptus. Now, all of those notes can be like aggressive, but imagine all 3 of those notes like at their gentle version, like their entry-level version. And that's kind of what this reminds me of. Now, the lemon, I feel like is a very sweet, almost leaning artificial candied style lemon. And as it warmed, I felt like I got a lot of lemon, a lot of citrus, and not so much pine. So I felt like the pine was just kind of an afterthought, more so on warm. And when I walk into the room after not being in it for a while, it reminded me of a lemon and dominant version of Sunkissed Citrus. So Sunkissed Citrus has orange, lemons, limes, grapefruit, but I felt like if you took the lemon and bumped it up and left those other citrus notes, then that's what I was getting. It was nice. I enjoyed this, but I didn't find it quite strong enough. So what did my family think of this one? So my husband said, ooh, that's nice. There's some fruit in there. 8 out of 10. Erica said 8.5 out of 10, and Ryan said 8.5 out of 10 as well. And I would say on Cold Sniff, for me, it's about an 8 out of 10, so really enjoyed it. How did it do warming? I decided to melt 6 cubes in my main space because this is the kind of scent I would want to melt there. It was only between 4 and 5 out of 10, and I think I left it going about a day or a little bit more than a day and then removed it. Now in the storage room, I used one other cube, and I actually sampled out another one, but in the storage room in my beehive 20 watt, I used 1 cube. It was about 5 out of 10 in that small room, and I left it going 2 days. And I have a note, this is weird because the room still had a gentle scent in it, but the wax I felt like didn't have any scent. So like I smelled the wax and I was like, ooh, but the room still kind of smelled like this. So maybe it's a lingerer, but in a small space, I don't know. So if you're someone that likes sweeter pine with a bit of fruit, something like Disney Season of Magic, but maybe you find that scent way too strong and you're like, I wish there was something that was really light that I could put in and enjoy, just a gentle kiss of pine with some fruitiness, with a little bit of brightness, and this might be a good one for you. Now, if you're someone that loves heavy pine and lots of strength and you just want to hit that scent going, then this would not be one that I would suggest for you. But I think if you're going to warm this, put it in a small to medium space to start out and then fiddle around with it and see what you get. Would I be repurchasing this one? Well, I mean, I have a whole one. I bought 2 in error, but if I didn't have the spare one, would I repurchase it? I don't think I would. There's other ones that work a little bit better for me and my family and my space. But like I said, good for entry-level pine people. So that's a Snoopy Holiday. Before I branch off, I just have an opinion question for you. Would you prefer I just get caught up on reviews and do some Tester Tuesdays for the month of November and then just do a normal empties video the month of November and skip the weekly wax updates? I'm not sure what you prefer. Let me know down in the comments if you have a preference. I'm already started working on the Gilmore Girls collection plus the gingerbread Disney fragrance. And as other scents come in, I will be warming those. There's lots of new stuff coming. It's hard to keep up. So be patient with your YouTubers. Be patient with your consultants. We're doing the best we can. Thanks for spending the last few minutes with me. I hope you have a great day in your neck of the woods. Hit the subscribe if you're new. If you like the video, hit the like. Take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.